So.
They had their first protest before their season.
Good afternoon, Steve. You're always so quiet. I'm gonna break the ice.
Oh, you can it was fine.
The highlight of our meeting.
About all the money we had. I always get back. That's not looking up. I can get you mine. Oh, yeah, no, I just got that one.
No, it's right on.
Shopping tables. Here. It's just coming tree.
Civil capitals. No, 200 miles, just like Roscoe.
Civil war was built up there. We just. We felt that. Fish. This is Key West over here, so we're coming back to Key West.
There's over there that they were.
And normally it's
I don't think
Key
we
West.
knew.
We're like the six, we kind of did this.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to call our meeting to order, Village Board of Roscoe, Tuesday, May 16th. Shall we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Call the roll.
Babcock.
Yes.
Malaco.
Here.
Petty. Here. Flock.
Here.
Sima.
Here.
Wright.
Here.
Gustafson.
Here. Item 4, public comment. Please state your name, rise and state your name loudly for the clerk.
Sure. My name is Blake Wheaton, Wheaton. My wife and I, Monique, are here today. We are residents at 11515 Edgemere Terrace. There's a duplex there next to Walgreens, for those of you who are familiar. We are owner occupiers, so the address is also 11517. The new construction next to us has caused a flooding issue. And it's a serious one. The last rain on May 12th, I had over 6 inches of standing water in my backyard. And I have some copies of this, if anyone would like to see them.
If you would hand them to me, then I'll make sure.
I sure will.
Distributed.
I only made 4. I didn't know how many people were gonna be.
Send some each trip. Thank you.
So much. We've owned the property for over 20 years. And have never had a drop of water in our backyard. And now I've got flooding in my shed.
And it wasn't even a horrible rain, and it could be, and now we're even worried about our basement, if we're set up. When the property was purchased, the open area between us and Walgreens, which is now where they're building everything, as it was explained to me, was a floodplain, and all of the water from the mall behind the strip mall or whatever, the mall that's back there, all drained in it. It never held water, but at certain times of year it would get marshy and it was a floodplain. When it was surveyed, when I bought the place over 20 years ago, there was no fear of water. Didn't have to get flood insurance. We were way out of the flood zone. It drained. It was meant to drain that way. And that's what we were told in all these years. It's not been a problem. Now they have built there and it funnels. Everything funnels right into our back, right in between the property line, right into our backyard. And it's between the stream, the pond, and the river. It's not usable back there. Then
It's a problem.
the problem. We don't know what to do.
We don't know what to do.
We've been in contact with the builder, with the person that owns the property, and feel we have a great relationship with, or a good talking relationship. And we brought this up way before it even happened. When they were building, we asked him, he said that, you know, he's building according to the rules.
According to what the village wanted him to do, so now we're addressing the
So
village.
that's why we're here.
And we've contacted him since these dates on the pictures,
And
and
he's well aware, but
he's well aware, but he, you know, he says, hey, I did what I was supposed to do. So we have a problem. We have a problem in our backyard.
Thank you. I understand that the village engineer has spoken with you.
Yes, I appreciate your time yesterday also and his time today.
So there'll be some continuing dialogue.
Okay.
perfect. Thank you.
I would like to mention one other thing and quickly. The lack of communication from the village to myself has been an issue. I first contacted the village on April 26th, was told I'd get a call back. I'm still awaiting that call. I left a message on April 27th, April 28th, May 1st. And then finally, May 12th, I got to talk to a person again and mentioned I'd be coming to this meeting, and all of a sudden I have two people from the village knocking on my door. So that was nice, but slow. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Any remote? No. Okay. Under President's report, at this time, I would like to introduce all of you to Mr. Brian Noreen. Mr. Noreen, would you step forward, please? Let's do the center so everyone can see.
Oh, boy, center of attention.
Center stage, we're center stage. I would like to present to you this citizenship award. Mr. Noreen led a crew. They did a lot of good, hard work in part of keeping Northern Illinois clean and beautiful. And I would like him to spend a couple of minutes telling us about his passion and the work he did, and maybe mention your crew members.
Sure. We did this as part of the Great American Cleanup, which is held every year. I've been doing it for several years on my own. This year, I decided to ask my neighbors to join me. We all live down on Rommelvale Lane here in Roscoe. And I was surprised how many volunteered. We had 6 people, and we did a cleanup part of Swanson Road and all of Swanson Drive on a very rainy day. We got 16 bags of trash. And these are big bags, these aren't small bags. And we did it not only to keep our neighborhood, beautiful and the village beautiful, but to help to eliminate some of the negative environmental impact that this trash has. Trash, bottle, cans, whatever, and believe me, we find everything out there. Eventually makes its way to storm sewers, to streams. Those streams and storm sewers head to the rock heads to the Mississippi heads to the Gulf, and now it's out in the ocean. In the Pacific Ocean, there is what's called the Great Pacific Trash Patch, which is now twice the size of Texas. This trash that's sitting in the ocean has a very negative impact and will continue to have a negative impact because plastic doesn't degrade. So, we're trying to do our part. I appreciate the recognition. The people that joined me, and they had me promise to say their names. Diane Mackey, Linda Welke, Carrie Nesch, Devette Cravens, Sean Lott, and his son Tegan Lott. So again, we did it. We're going to continue to do it. It's funny. Once we started picking up trash, the neighbors said they liked it and they want to do it again. So I invite the whole city to worry about the environment, and certainly if you see trash, pick it up.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Madam Clerk. If you didn't get the names, perhaps we can give you his list.
That's fine. It's on recording too.
Okay, thank you. Treasurer's report.
The bills submitted for approval tonight are expenditures per list of $81,561. We have payroll expenditures of $83,063, leaving cash on hand after payment of the bills of $8,901,818. We have motor fuel expenditures of $15,982, leaving cash on hand after payment of $1,193,020.
Is there a motion to pay the bills? So moved. A second?
Second the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Babcock. Any
I think
questions?
that's my.
Made you nervous?
For a second. Yeah, I had to think about it. It was complicated.
Are there any questions?
I did have two questions real quick, probably just for education. Salt, 15,000. Is that from winter?
Troy can answer questions for you.
I wrote down some information for the new trustees on, we have a agreement or contract with Winnebago County Co-op. There's probably 10 different municipalities all in the area. And we all put in for how much we usually want of salt, how many tons, and obviously they get a better price since there's 10 of them instead of just one person each going out. And the last couple of years has been with Morton Salt, and we usually go with 1,800 tons. We have to get 80% for our contract, which is, 1440. And we can go up to a max of 130%, which is 2340 of keeping on our contracted price, which is for regular salt is 81.35 ton. And our treated, which has calcium chloride in it, and it's like the purple or blue salt that goes down to like the negative, 15, negative 20. And that's 107.16. So this was just kind of filling up our salt shed for next year, because we got for next year prices went up like $5 a ton kind of for each of them. So I wanted to meet our minimum 1,400 tons. I was 5 tons short, so I wanted to meet our 1,440 and then plus get it at a better deal than we'll be playing probably this winter.
So when do we do the contract again?
It's I think we have to order everything for the 22-23 year by the end of May. And you can usually start in November of 23 to May of 24.
Thank you. Any other questions regarding bills? Okay. Call the vote, please.
Petty,
Yes.
Flock,
Yes.
Sima,
Yes.
Malaco,
Yes.
Babcock,
Yes.
right.
Yes.
And item number 7, minutes from May 2nd. Is there a motion to approve the minutes, May 2nd? Second.
Sima,
Yes.
Malaco,
Yes.
Flock,
Yes.
Petty,
Yes.
right,
Yes.
Babcock.
Yes.
Item 8.1, approval of resolution 2023-25, authorizing entering into an agreement with landscape material and firewood sales with the tub grinding of vegetative storm debris collected at Riverside Park. Quoted price $12,050. Is there a motion?
Motion, sure.
Motion made by Mike Wright. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Babcock. Someone had asked about dyeing the mulch, and Troy had some information to share about dyeing.
Yep, I talked with the vendor last week, and I don't know if you saw the updated quote in your packets. But we talked about the dyeing of it, and the new quote for that would be mobilization of getting the machines and the conveyor, the belt and everything was $1,700. And then to color it was the 906 per yard. And I asked him, how many yards do you think is down there? And he really didn't know. He said he estimated between 500 up to 1,000 yards. So that could be additional 45, 30 to almost, $9,060. And then the per hour is like a $38 per hour. And I was just guessing off the top of my head, he said probably around 2 days to up to a week, it all depends how much it is. So total prices for that is $6,838 for the 500, all the way up to additional $12,080 onto the $12,050. So it's almost double the price if it's 1,000 yards. And he also mentioned that this machine would not be done at the same time as the tub grinding. This machine's more popular to use, and he wasn't for sure when he could actually get back to the park, the diet. And we would have to move the pile of mulch down closer to the river because he would have to get a pump, because they had to pump like 100 gallons per minute while they're doing this. So then the pile will be more closer to, I guess you'd call it the south side of that parking lot, which we're kind of hoping to keep it down at the north end so that people can still park in there and we can distribute it from that far end.
Thank you.
Questions or?
So it's your recommendation we forego the dyeing.
Yeah, staff recommendation.
Thank you. Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any other questions or comments?
How much it would cost? I mean, even just buy dyed mulch, right? I mean, it probably by the end result, you would probably be cheaper to buy it, right? You don't know, right?
Possibly,
Or you put the mulch down and just get some spraying. I mean, seriously, you just spray the seal over the top and it looked like it was colored.
But we're going to use it naturally. Various places, correct?
Correct.
We have a motion and a second. Please call for the vote.
Babcock,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Petty,
Yes.
Malaco.
Yes.
Block,
Yes.
Simon.
Yes.
Item 8.2, approval of resolution 2023 R26, authorizing into an agreement with Tree Care Enterprises for the removal of dead and hazardous trees and undergrowth along Riverside Park for the amount of $11,850. Is there a motion to approve? So moved. Thank you. Is there a second?
Second that.
Thank you. Any questions? Discussion? Call the vote, please.
Block,
Yes.
Simon,
Yes.
Babcock, Petty,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Malaco.
Yes.
Item 8.3, approval of resolution 2023 R27, authorizing entering into an agreement with Total Plumbing and Heating for the purchase and installation of new heating and air conditioning systems at Swanson Park Concession Building for the amount of $15,978. I have a motion.
So moved.
Thank you. Is there a second? Thank you. Questions? Call the vote, please.
Malaco,
Yes.
Block,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Babcock,
Yes.
Petty,
Yes.
Simon.
Yes.
8.4, approval of ordinance 2023-05, adopting amendments to the criteria for determining what constitutes a responsible bidder for the public works projects of the village of Roscoe. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second? Second. Questions, comments?
And we'll just note that this removes the local bidder preference and the project paper agreement requirements from the ordinance.
This removes it. That's the one we talked about last week.
Yes, it removes those two sections. Approval of this removes those two sections.
Gotcha.
Call the vote, please.
I have
Right.
one question.
Oh, 1 second.
So it didn't move on that way, so why is it projected that way?
We looked at the notes, the minutes, I think it did. I think that one section was still in there. Or you want to make
Yeah, that's the motion I made and that failed. And there was no other motion made.
Oh, because I think, yeah, it's not coming on with approval, I guess. This would technically be a first read of it. Unless you want to.
It's under final.
Suspend.
Unless you want to suspend it.
So backing up, is there a motion to suspend the rules and make this a final reading and vote?
Second.
And just to be clear, so everybody is, the motion is going to be for removing both those sections.
Right.
Okay.
But first we are
Suspending
voting.
rules, correct.
Okay. The clerk would, all the,
Babcock,
Yes.
Malaco,
Yes.
Teddy,
Yes.
Flock,
Yes.
Sima,
Yes.
right.
Yes.
okay. So now the question is, do you approve ordinance 2023-05 as presented, striking those two clauses? Correct?
Correct.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
A second?
I'll second.
Call the vote?
Right,
Yes.
Babcock,
Yes.
Malaco,
No.
Teddy,
Yes.
Flock,
No.
Sima.
Yes.
Item 9. Approval of ordinance 2023-06, adopting and enacting a recodification and reorganization of the ordinances of the Village of Roscoe, Illinois. I would like to have a motion to suspend the rules and make this a final motion.
I make that motion.
Second?
Second.
Call the vote.
Discussion?
If we suspend, then we discuss.
Babcock,
Yes.
Malaco,
Yes.
Teddy,
Yes.
Flock,
Yes.
Sima,
Yes.
right.
Yes.
Approving of this ordinance, adopting and enacting a recodification and reorganization, I will ask our village attorney to give a brief history of what happened here for people who are not familiar with what's happening.
So a codification, we've been done for quite some time, takes all these ordinances, those individual ordinances we're passing, puts them all into one big book, matches them all up, makes one cohesive document that lets everybody know, and lets the trustees know and the public know what the law is of the Village of Roscoe, our code of ordinances. This will, proving this codification, will codify all those individual ordinances from our old book, and all the changes we've made into it, through July of 2022. So through last year, there's not very many we've passed since that time. So this will pretty much catch us up to our current code book. This is a new company that we're using, taking quite some time. We passed this before COVID, originally to codify this. We have the final version of this document of this code book now. There's one in the trustee's office currently. I've got the rest one in the back. But more importantly, once we approve this, we'll turn this into Municode, and then they will turn on our online version of Municode. Everybody will have access, and it's a very nice system. It's what we went with Municode. Beautiful website, nice website to actually obtain codes, search codes, know what our ordinances are. Also, with Municode, once you pass ordinances, our clerk will email them that same or next day probably or that week, email them to Municode, and then they will be available to everybody right away online. Anybody can see them, be right there. So everybody should have access, public, trustees, everybody else should know exactly what codes are passed and what is actually enforced at any given time.
By next week.
By next week, yeah. As soon as this gets sent up tomorrow, we'll email this in and they should be able to turn it on. They said within 24 hours, they would turn on the electronic version of it.
And for new members of the board, the previous boards had already paid to have this work done. So
There will
It's a
be a
long
bill
process.
coming. I will point it out. There will be a bill coming. It will not be the, but we do have additional expenses on this. It was overage over the number of pages originally quoted, so there'll be it's a few $1,000s, but there will be one more bill coming for that. But yes, generally.
and we
the
got
project
more
was
years to
paid.
pay for it, like they did to roll it up.
Yes. we can.
And this is accessible from our website.
Yep, this is from our
So it'll
website.
be another.
So how does it look, sort of like a Google search type of thing, or is it more, how does it look differently than what we have now? Because what we have now is search and find.
It's similar to that. I thought it just went up there, but if you just search your Municode, Southwood uses it. You can see a good example of what sort of the code book looks like. But yeah, it's like it's a searchable code book. hard to describe that besides that, but.
Do we have any plans on making the public aware of it or having some type of announcement roll out? Letting people know that it's
I
available?
don't know if we have plans for that, but I
There would
imagine
be a
when we,
link on the website.
yeah, and then I suppose if we do roll out a new website at some point here, that'll be part of that as well. But certainly have, there is links to it on the website, it'll be on the website.
Any other questions, comments? We have a motion and a second to approve ordinance 2023-06. Please call the vote.
Let me get the,
We suspended and we voted on the
We do a
suspension.
motion.
Oh, did, oh,
We have a motion to actually approve it.
all right. May I have a motion to approve ordinance 2023-06?
So moved.
Second? Second. Thank you. Okay, vote now. Thank you.
Wright,
Yes.
Petty,
Yes.
Babcock,
Yes.
Sima,
Yes.
Malaco.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Under old business first, I would like our chief of police to give us an update on the preparations for the retail event in Roscoe known as the Chicory Ridge Garage Sale.
I actually have several of them, so bear with me. So the first one, Chicory Ridge Garage Sale. It'll be Friday through Sunday, the 19th through the 21st this weekend. There are going to be 83 residences involved. Sounds like 2 food trucks. There will be electronic signs. The signboards at the entrance of Chicory Ridge Way, Roscoe Road, and Meadow Sweet and Roscoe Road. Those will be placed out Wednesdays, so you'll actually see those starting tomorrow. Those are for the announce the garage sales that are going to be happening at that time, and also it's going to state that there's even side parking only in Chicory Ridge subdivision during the times of the garage sales. There's going to be stake signs placed on the odd sides of the roadways. Of course, got 12 by 18 signs. There will be no parking, temporary police order under my order under village ordinance. Village Roscoe Police Department. Code enforcement Wilder will be assisting with traffic enforcement on Friday. And we'll have 1 officer on higher back and stationed in Chicory Ridge on Friday and Saturday, and periodic patrols by patrol when available throughout the event. We also have the Prairie Ridge garage sales Friday and Saturday going at the same times. They're way scaled back though. That's only 12 residences involved. That'll be handled by the periodic patrols on officers on shift going through there. We're not putting out any signage or anything to minimum traffic that we foresee hopefully in that area. And then other event coming before the next board meeting will be the Memorial Day Parade, Monday, May 29th. It will start at 11 a.m. That will also be posted by board, an announcement prior to the event, letting people know that the route and shutdown of the road. The route will start at Main and Bridge. It'll go north on Main Street. It'll turn right on to Harrison, which is right after the bridge here, and it'll go directly right into Roscoe Cemetery. Harrison Street will have no parking signs the day before on both sides of the roadway to allow for additional traffic. The width of that roadway is not overly abundant, so it's going to give us with no parking out there. Day before, hopefully nobody out there, so we get the parade through there safely, along with the foot traffic.
Are they doing construction on that street right now?
It's,
They're
I
doing
think,
some
Jeff,
cable.
Just wanted to make sure it's all.
Is it cable?
Yeah, it's a, excuse me, fiber optic.
The parade route itself will be shut down a half hour prior to the beginning of the parade. However, Bridge Street at Main Street will be left open east and west, so about 5 minutes before the parade actually starts. There's also an event on June 3rd at 8 a.m. till noon at Roscoe Middle School. It's the Race Towards Acceptance 5K and 1 mile. It's for Gigi's Playhouse. The race will start at Roscoe Middle School, go west on the bike path, go down Stonebridge Trail and return the same route. Digital signboards on Chestnut and at the Stonebridge Trail will be placed out there, cautioning for runners just crossing the street and track will slow down right away, but just kind of give them heads up as to the run going on during that one. We also have the June 10th from 8 till 12. The North Point Triathlon, it's called the Prairie Triathlon. That is a long one. We will have 2 officers on hire back for that event. North Point will be responsible for the payment of those officers. It starts at North Point, goes out Willowbrook, Curry Road, north on White School, east on Prairie Hill, out to Free Church. And then comes down back on Elevator to County Line Road, west on McCurry, and Willowbrook Road to North Point back. So it is a very long event. It's a private run, so yeah, it doesn't really sound like fun. No. North Point will have volunteers out there along a couple of our officers at some of the intersections. And electric signs will be placed out on McCurry Road prior to the event.
Chief, I have a couple of questions. Back to the Memorial Day Parade, people wishing to participate should arrive or start to line up at what time would you recommend?
I would say probably about 10 o'clock, I would say at least by 10, and they will want to come in. The easiest way for them to get in would be McDonald Road by the mobile there and come down up Main Street north in order to line up in that area through there. It is just for the amount of, if there's going to be any amount of traffic in that area, that'd be the safest way for them to get up and lined up, because we usually will shut down the southbound traffic on Main Street right there in order for pedestrians and people in the parade.
Secondly, there had been some conversation about issuing tickets for people who do not obey the no parking signs.
Yes.
At these garage sales.
Yes,
That's going to happen.
it will. We've done it in the past and those will continue. I think we get pretty fair warning right up front. I mean, we don't try to hide anything. We'll have signs everywhere. They'll read out exactly where they can and can't park, and that's even if you're running in just to look real quick for 30 seconds or anything, we need to leave those roads open as much as we can for emergency.
What's the ticket? Which is the ticket?
The parking one on the 35 Joe.
I don't know, yeah,
I would have to look at
around
the
that,
ordinance on that, and
but yeah, around $3.
so that's paid at the police department. If not, then failure to pay would go to local court.
And do we know, Scott, if there is mud volleyball this year?
I believe there will be mud volleyball.
And it might be what month? August?
That's usually, yeah.
And coming attractions will be some National Night Out information
Yes,
in a couple of weeks.
yeah. By the next meeting, we should have some more information on that.
Thank you.
Who actually organizes the parade?
The Memorial Day Parade,
Yes.
who organizes?
It's
it?
actually, it's put on by VFW, for myself and village administrator, have been meeting with the gentleman. Route for them and, they've updated us a little bit on who is going to be in that parade.
So it's a kind of free form, first groups that show up. 2, 3, and 4. Kind of.
They sort of established the order of, the first 5 or 6 entities, the color guard and the veterans and the auxiliary and the elected officials. And then it does seem perhaps to be first come, first serve after that, although we'll check what we decided. Well, I guess by the end of this week, they're going to try to give us a lineup, much like we do with the Lions Club for the Fall Festival Parade. We've assisted with putting putting a spatially accurate document together to show how much space each group will need along Main Street heading south. And that allows them to actually go out and put little pavement markings out. So people go to space 4, go to space 12. Both of our major parades, Fall Festival and this, are hosted by someone else, but now more than ever, approached more collaboratively with the village. So we've had more coordination meetings and I don't know, just a better spirit of cooperation the last couple of years.
Is it a fundraiser for the VFW and the Lions Club, or they just do it as a community service?
It's
But it brings
a organization. It culminates at the cemetery, at which they do have a reading of the names of local fallen veterans and a placing of a wreath and a memorial, playing of taps, 21 gun salute. Middle school assembles and plays some music.
That's your question.
Facebook presence, website presence. Village of Roscoe Police, online presence.
Yeah, I mean, we'll be putting on Facebook. I
Okay,
think that's kind of where we put this first off at. We'll put it up also any warning. Road closure.
as well as the garage sale.
Yeah.
Is there any other old business from anyone?
Oh. When are we gonna be burning the build house back here? Did we get the abatement yet or?
No. Got to follow up and see.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, the RFP for the website, has that been sent out?
Not yet. We're finalizing that again. But no, we're not.
Do you anticipate?
This week we will. You've seen it. Essentially, it's done. There's just a few tweaks we're gonna make.
I don't think I've seen the same thing, but.
It's available, but yeah, I can get a copy of it. But yes, the plan is to have it this week. Correct.
And the same thing for the comprehensive plan.
Yes.
How is it distributed?
This one, I think we've got a collection of people we'll be sending it to. I'll be posting on our website. Not sure that's the best way to do it necessarily by itself. So I think we've got consultants will try to aim towards.
So the website,
Actually.
if you don't mind me, over the past year, we have done a series of meetings with potential candidates, right? To sort of see what they had to offer, what their past experience, whether they seem to be a viable candidate to take on this project. And based upon that, we've identified 4 or 5 that we think would be an appropriate vendor to work with us. So we'll probably directly, because that's sort of been essentially a pre-qualification.
Is Civics Plus one of those companies? You ever, Civics Plus?
I don't believe they are.
You ever heard of them?
I
mean,
believe I have.
I'm just saying maybe we could.
Well, is it possible if someone knows of some
Absolutely.
organization to just send you an email?
Yeah.
And you can vet them.
Yes.
Civic Plus is that's who our codifier is. So Unicode is Civic Plus.
Okay.
So that's,
Yeah.
that was one of the
the
reasons why
biggest-
they,
Yeah, they're one of the
slowed down.
biggest ones in the nation. I thought the Unicode was part of that.
yeah. And that's sort of why one of our delays, we had Unicode, we purchased Unicode right in the first year of the project. So I'm not sure we have a best taste on our mouths about Unicode, but yes, people, thanks.
So Unicode is a superior product to what we have now. We have Am Legal now, and I can tell you as someone who has both had to use code of ordinances from the design side of the world to oversee them from the administration side. Unicode is more user-friendly, better layout, better product. But boy, oh boy,
Yeah,
it was unanticipatedly tough process to get it done.
But if anyone knows or wants to recommend.
Yeah.
To Scott,
we
another name to
will send
pursue.
it, we will do Civic Plus. I mean, they have purchasing up a lot of different companies, including Unicode. So yeah.
I'll tell you that we did sort of prioritize a search of local companies primarily first, but we have reached out beyond that. And there are some that are more broadly scaled. There's a company based out of Michigan that really impressed us with some of their municipal websites. They have over 1,200 municipal websites. And we certainly want to, we're interested in their response. And some local.
Any other old business? Okay. Moving on, item 11, any other public comment?
If I may ask a question, please.
Regarding my flooding issue, I know that tomorrow is the zoning board meeting.
Yes,
Is this something that anyone would recommend that I should go to, or is it?
your topic would not be germane to what's on the agenda tomorrow,
Okay, so I should,
but you know, attend if you're interested.
fair enough. Thank you for your,
If I might just add, the zoning board of appeals wouldn't have any authority or direction or expertise in this.
that's the
matter.
question that's what I was asking. Thank you so much.
So to his point, how do we proceed on that? Or
There's going to be continuing conversation with the village engineer
And the building.
and the builder. We'll see.
This village engineer?
Yes,
Okay.
Mr. Barnes. Yes.
Well, I mean, I just don't want him to be in the
No,
dark.
no,
I don't know.
He's had a conversation.
Appreciate it.
We met earlier today.
Right.
Okay, yeah.
All right. Any other public comment? At item 12, I see a need for executive session. I'd like a motion to go into executive session for the purpose of discussing possible acquisition of property. Is there a motion?
Yes. Motion.
Did you second?
yes,
Okay. Okay.
I'm anxious to see what it is.
Wright,
Yes.
Petty,
Yes.
Malco,
Yes.
Block,
Yes.
Simon,
Yes.
Babcock.
Yes.
We will meet in my office.
And second for your, it's section C5 of the Open Meetings Act. So you just put down. It's
This is where you get free.
I'll give you this.
No,
We get free donuts.
in what regard?
I will.
Okay.
Thank you, Ryan.
Everyone be there, so.
May I have a motion to come out of the executive session? So moved.
Second.
Babcock,
Yes.
Simon,
Yes.
Block,
Yes.
Petty,
Yes.
Malco.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Right, no action was taken in the executive session. Item 11 or 13, may I have a motion to adjourn? So moved.
Second.
Normally, last time you did A, so whatever. Wright,
Yes.
Simon,
Yes.
Block,
Yes.
Petty, yes, Malco.
Yes.
Babcock.
Yes.
We're adjourned. Committee of the whole in 5 minutes.
Ready to roll whenever everyone else is.
5 minutes.
You guys want to go now?